Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
What do you get when you mix two white boys, both named Mike? A thing for Justin Timberlake and a piercing above your eye. Was he high? Their stories alone could make you cry. That's when you want to make your Irish goodbye.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
That was... Hello. Hello to you, too.
I want to give us credit.
Yeah.
Because usually we're not this professional. We're recording a back-to-back today. And we have never once brought an outfit change in the history of this show, so it's just been 2 stagnant episodes. Boom, boom.
People skip over it thinking they probably already watched it.
That's right.
So you guys did a wardrobe change today?
We're slightly dressed different.
We more
Put a
just
hat
one
on,
of
you put a jacket on.
Yeah, one of us took a coat off, and one of us put a coat on, and then we did that twice, and that's welcome everybody to another episode of Irish Goodbye Podcast, a storytelling podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mike Feeney, being joined with me as always.
I'm Mike Cannon. I am freezing too, dude.
Really?
I'm drinking this smoothie, and each time I'm like kind of warming up after every sip, like 45 seconds, and then I dive right back in.
Well,
and
I've got my
bone.
third of a cup of cold water.
Yeah. Well, that's the voice of our special guest today. We're very excited to have him, Mr. Kevin Clancy, KFC, you better know him as. How are you doing, pal?
Doing good, man.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
Oh, yeah. I was just telling you before, my son has that same exact shirt. Like the same color,
Dude.
same fabric, everything.
He's calling you a baby, dude.
I was going to say, you have the style of a baby. Thanks, man.
My son can dress, bro.
And
My son's fly.
And I do want to get this out of the way as an amendment to anybody who listened to last week's episode. We just had Jared Freid on last week's episode, but we just got done with it. And throughout this episode, Jared talks about how he's got a doorman. He looks down at me for never having a doorman and being like, and he talks about living in Florida during the whole quarantine when all these suckers have been up in New York, really separating himself as better than us, calling us trash, and only to come
He called our fans futon people.
Yeah, futon audience, he called them. He said, this is a futon audience, isn't it? So, and regardless if it is, futons can be very comfortable.
Futons are one of the greatest inventions of all
Now,
time.
this is a guest, but I want to say, we get done with the episode, and I'm casually talking to Jared, and I go, hey, so you said you didn't want to come back to New York, but you're back here. What are you back here for? And he goes, my mailbox was too full. The doorman stopped taking it. So I go, fuck you
your doorman.
and your fucking doorman. You're talking about your doorman.
What's he even good for?
Yeah, not for nothing. That's what I'm saying.
I didn't know that at all. Where was I?
You were, I don't know, we leave right after the show
That
a
would
lot
have
of
been
times.
sweet
But
retribution because I don't feel that satisfied right now.
I felt great. I was like ready to record more. I was
The mail,
chomping
too,
at the
by
bit.
the way, coming all the way back to New York for
mail, yeah.
I'd be like, oh, you can light it all on fire.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten anything in the mail
Yeah,
that I needed.
nothing
It's just
important.
bills and things that I'm going to duck anyway, so just throw it in the garbage.
It's things that you've sent me an email about a month earlier that I've already responded to.
Absolutely,
So.
that's crazy talk.
Yeah.
The
I would
mail.
have instructed my doorman to set them on fire.
Yeah, it's like just throw I do the same thing I do. I
Like, set
take
everything
it
on fire.
and I move it over here and put it in the garbage.
Yeah.
Nothing that is in my mailbox it hasn't been double sent to me digitally. Or it's not a package, and if it is, I'll order another
I feel
one.
like I ignore anything that comes in the mail, and it's not important until I get an email or a phone call about it.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
And I mean, I'm at the point too where it's just like if I see something from like an insurance company, I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not what I want to look at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's going to be something that's going to ruin my day. So it didn't happen.
My
See you later.
wife has to open my 1099s because I won't look at them.
Yeah.
I really won't. I'm like, oh, I got those.
Dude, how
cool.
about I just got all my tax shit in
Yeah.
the mail. But like, I feel like I don't know about you guys. I did taxes late because of Corona and shit.
Sure.
So I like just did all that, and I was like, "Huh, this must be like a mistake."
Yeah.
I just did that.
Supposed
I
to
was
be a
like, no,
misprint.
it's time to play again.
Yeah.
It's time to get the season starting.
I know it's been said probably a lot, and I think Brendan even has a joke about it, but the fact that we are paying taxes this year seems like a pretty...
We should
maybe
have
just
the
call
year
it a-
off.
yeah, right.
Although,
Mulligan, you know?
here's the thing, that's what they would actually love, because filing your taxes, that's when we get our rebate, is when we get our
Well,
tax.
I crossed over.
Okay.
I have not
Now
gotten
you
a
owe.
rebate in a long time.
Smart, and you're doing
I
it right.
get
You're a
punched
doorman
in my
guy.
fucking dick.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to pay every single year. So, and I mean, I don't know what it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I yell every year at like I go to like my payroll person at work because now we have like HR and shit at Barstool.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, take the right amount of taxes out now,
yes.
so I don't get fucked.
Yeah.
Where I have to pay like $10,000 out of nowhere.
They go, the option is either we'll take out way too much or not nearly enough. So
just
which
do
one
the
do you
right
want?
Goldilocks me one time, right in the fucking middle.
You
please.
fucking wish you'd get Goldilocks. No one gets Goldilocks in this fucking world.
Bullshit.
I'm having an existential crisis right now thinking about this. I'm like, why can't they do that?
Yeah.
Why can't they figure
Just
it out? These
take
are the
out
people that know money and they don't know money?
Yeah.
Nobody know. This is what it comes down to. Nobody knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Like, think about your job. I guess our jobs are a little different, but it's like
No, I don't know
nobody
what
knows
I'm
what they're doing. Like, but like, think about the smart people you know in your life. Like, I don't know. We all have friends who are like degenerates who are like a doctor somehow.
Yeah.
And it's like, that guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I hang out with him and I know. And that like scientist, he's mailing it in. Everyone's just trying to get by. So whoever's doing the taxes, and, the IRS are like, I don't fucking know. Oh, I fucked that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We fucked it up. You just got to pay money.
Whoever John Federal Reserve is.
That guy.
He doesn't
John
know what the
H.
fuck
Reserve.
He goes by his middle and last name for some reason. Just Federal Reserve, call me. The John is for my parents to call me, not you. It's fucking. Where did you grow up?
I was born in the Bronx.
Okay.
And then my family moved to Westchester. We did a bid for a couple years outside of Philly, but mostly New York through and through.
So they were part of that classic Irish Bronx whole thing.
Well,
right?
yeah.
Bronx
Well, I was born in City Island in the Bronx, which is a weird. It's this little tiny island off like in the Long Island Sound. That's like
In the Bronx Tale. That's the end of the bus route.
It's like the land that time forgot. Like it's a weird place where like your mailman's on heroin and you're like
It's like baby Staten Island.
Kinda, yeah. And it's very like you can live like, the kind of like the trashy Irish people can live there. And then there's like the Puerto Ricans come over from Co-op City. And there's just like different. And then, there's the people who think that it's like this amazing seafood experience. And it's like, bro, no. It's just, it's frozen seafood from like the grocery store. It's not, we're living in the Long Island Sound. It's not like fresh lobster off the coast of Maine, bro.
Yeah, somebody at the just casting out right from the foot of the shore.
So it's a weird place that like, I don't think anybody in the world has an upbringing like the people who are from that town.
How long did you live there?
So I was born there and lived until I was in like first grade.
Oh, okay.
Moved to Philly for a few years and then came back. So
All right, yeah.
and now my family still lives there now, and I'm in the money earning Mount Vernon in the hood.
Oh, yeah? Is
You
Mount
live-
Vernon?
Oh, you live in a trash neighborhood?
Is Mount Vernon? Because I feel like, because I guess I went to
Ben Gordon
Iona.
territory.
I went to Iona, so like in New Rochelle, it's a literal black and white difference of making a right out of the campus
Mount
or a
Vernon's the
left,
same way,
where it's
yeah.
like check cashing in one place, multi-million-dollar estates in the other.
100%. I'm like a little bit in the gray area. Ben Gordon dunked on me once.
No shit.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
We played in a summer league. My coach had this idea of like we're gonna really like play up 10,000 levels and throw you to the fire.
Yeah.
And he played like for 2 minutes because he had like it was a summer league, so he had a future.
Yeah.
Like I'm not blowing out an ACL or whatever, playing against people like me. But I think he would come in for these games and just like get a couple highlights here and there. But they just lobbed him an alley-oop, and I thought I was going to stop that from happening. Just willingly, like, I'll put myself on a poster.
Yeah.
We got, I'm not even kidding you, the final score, it was 80-something to like, I think it might have been 9-11.
Oh,
we couldn't get the ball across that
that's
court.
girls basketball.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was actually, I know what my coach was trying to do, but it was actually like the end of my
Demoralizing?
career. It was like, whatever little like high school career I was going to have is over because I have
abusive.
no,
Instead of breaking you down like in the army to build you back up, he just
broke me
devastated
and
you.
left me.
Yeah, he just broke your soul.
This is when we rebuild you into Jason Bourne. No,
Yeah.
they just put me in the sewer.
It's Batman. They just left you in the hole in the desert with a broken back.
That was the summer league at Lincoln Park in New Rochelle, man. It was bad. Holy shit.
That's why I got dunked on by Hilton Armstrong, Ben Gordon's teammate.
yeah.
So, but I was playing against him in high school. He was at Peak Skill.
Yeah,
and I
Peak Skill had, and that was Elton Brand too, right?
Elton Brand was there earlier.
Yeah.
And then who I also played against, his cousin, Terrell Biggs. That kid was a 7th grade JV player because he was 6'7"
that's
and
not
just
fair.
a fucking beast.
Because then you just get demoralized by a 13-year-old.
Yeah, this prepubescent child that that
Yeah.
was literally just moving adults or borderline adults.
Right.
But Hilton Armstrong, we played against them in the sections, and for whatever reason, I was the only non-frightened white on my team.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else was like shivering. I'm pretty sure there was like, a gun thing that everybody walked through to get
metal detector.
Those are the best. Dude, when I was even younger, when I was playing in City Island, we had like a pretty good team. I mean, young ball though, so like it doesn't really count. But we were playing on Gun Hill Road, Immaculate Conception.
Yeah.
It was a court that used to be in a pool, like a drained pool almost.
Whoa.
So it had like the fans were kind of up a level, like it was like a pit.
Yeah.
It was actually really cool.
That's cool.
But we walked in, and it was like a bunch of kids from Co-op City who could play ball, and then me and 3 other white kids who like we could, for the white kids we could hold our own. But there was one kid who was the coach's son who was just on the team, and he had a crisp new pair of like I think it was Jordan, I want to say 13s. And as we walk in, the crowd was like, "You better live up to those Jordans, boo!" And like we were just getting heckled. We were like in 6th grade, getting like berated by parents and shit.
Dude.
It's an experience growing up being like the only white kid who can play basketball.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
like
well,
you learn a little bit about yourself doing that.
Not to mention, there's a little bit of justice. So, like, AAU was when everything kind of, like, centralized and people
that was where I checked out.
specialized.
I wasn't playing AAU ball. I was like, I'm not good enough for that. But
The best was, dude, so I'd play AAU, and the coach's son of, like, the CYO team or whatever, who wasn't very good, would also try to play AAU. And then as soon as they stepped out of the protective bubble, their father coaching, and get the fucking ball mashed back into their teeth, there was no better feeling to watch that
it's
happen.
like, you don't deserve to be here.
you fucking,
Very clear.
you twat. Oh, that's the best.
Mike, can we get our guest more water? Because
One of the wildest moves ever.
Mike,
I mean, I'm
comes
not
in here.
like a diva by any means. but
brings
that was
it. Oh,
wacky.
yeah, they're ready to go.
You know what? Let's
He
see. We
brings
almost got a full glass. We got a full cup.
G-Mike gave him 3 thimbles in a cup of water and said, and
was so funny, man.
defense was, I didn't want it to get warm, and I figured when he wants more water, I'll just give it cold water.
The kicker for me, I was like, I don't know, maybe the fucking the thing ran out, but I looked over and you guys had 2 full glasses. I was like, well,
those were self-poured. I don't trust his pour. It gives you 3 fingers of water.
Anytime I do real ass podcasts, they slide it to me like a whiskey, and I'm like, can I have a full? Pretend it's a beer. How about
Dylan's,
that?
like thrown it in my face before, hoping that
Open
that'll
your
quench
mouth.
my thirst. Yeah.
It's just they come sliding in. It's the fucking weirdest, man. But that's crazy. Growing up doing that too. Like, when did you check out of basketball?
I mean, I played through my like senior year of high school. So we played
sport.
Yeah, it was really my only sport. Like I played Little League baseball. I checked out of baseball when like breaking ball started. I was like, well, it moved away from my back. That's not fair. Like what witchcraft is this? So I was like good at Little League baseball was where I like got a little bit of confidence as like a boy. Like I was like I could mash a little bit when I was a kid, and then I checked out. And then basketball was like I was a good player on horrific teams. So like I was like the captain of our team in Pelham, and we were like 2-18. But I was like, I'm the captain of the team, and we will never win a game.
You were Devin Booker 3 years ago.
We'll stop with the Devin Booker comparisons, but that was the only sport that.
I've never seen Feeney smile so big and clueless. He was like,
Because before, buddy, I've been checked out for 10 minutes. When you guys started saying acronyms? You know, the AAU and the COY and the Come 2-3 and the 4-5-6 CKY. And I'm like, oh, cool.
Don't worry, we've been going for 2 hours. But.
Yeah, I don't know why the counter's off. So we'll never know. But I'm just always fascinated with people that have that athletic track, and then when it diverts, it's always funny how it usually a lot of times will fall in some sort of entertainment field.
I guess so. I mean, I remember just being like, I remember like kind of junior and senior year of high school being like, well, I'm not going anywhere in this, so like it's taking up a lot of my time. I remember being like happy when the season was over, being like,
how did you figure that out though? I had such a tough time figuring out that I
Mike
wasn't
still hasn't
going
come to
anywhere.
terms
I
with
still have a part of me that's like, I can make a comeback.
I think you were just better than me though. You know what I mean?
But I wasn't elite. Like,
you probably should have known.
I blame. I definitely should.
But I was
there.
Going nowhere with like, there was nothing. So
If
I was
we
just like,
had social media, though, I think I would have known earlier.
just
like if
from
I saw,
seeing the rest of the
if
world.
I saw Zion was
Yeah,
out there,
like,
then I'd be like,
oh.
oh, I'm good. Yeah.
Right,
Like
right.
the idea that Ben Gordon dunking on you isn't on ball is life.
Thank God. Oh my God. That would
You're
be
a
the
recreational
worst.
kid, and you're just getting fucking dick humped in the
Yeah.
face on
Did
some
you see
kid's
that
Shattered backboard just all over you, raining down on you.
That clip of that kid who was clapping in Zion's face a few years ago. That kid's playing college ball now.
Good for that
Which is
fucking
wild
kid.
that like Zion's like been in the league for a while, and that kid's just making it to
Yeah,
college.
that's
I was like,
crazy.
how old is that kid? But yeah, I mean, I remember thinking, you know what it was too? I remember being like really committed to basketball. I used to have those fucking stupid things you strapped on your shoes.
Oh, I had those too.
You could jump higher and shit.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, and I like as a sophomore, I almost got called up to varsity again with this shitty school. But I was like, maybe I could play a little bit. And then I got a girlfriend for the first time and got laid. And I remember being like, I want to keep having sex with this girl.
Yeah.
So like, I'm gonna like hang out with
pursue
her at
that
night.
career.
And
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
So. Like everything else in the world, like as soon as we got a taste of like booze and girls, I stopped doing anything productive. You know what I mean?
See, now, did you have any like because I was just asking this last week too, but I like to ask people, did you have any deviant shit that you would do when you were like your shit that like for instance, we would once we got
Feeney
our
used to kill
licenses.
squirrels.
I was gonna say like microwave a cat. Like, what are we talking about here?
That's a different podcast.
You ever
That's Legion
leave
of
your
Skanks, I
neighbor's
think.
dog in their mailbox?
Yeah. No, like you ever just drive around recklessly with your friends or fucking
we did dumb
you know?
shit. We used to spray the top of a tennis ball with like an aerosol can and light it on fire and throw it at things.
Don't you dare act like you didn't know what I meant when I said deviant behavior. What do you mean? Like this exact
Throwing
example?
fireballs around. Yeah.
Like this American Gladiator board?
Yeah, we used to throw it at like the bus that would go by on Boston Post Road, and then there was one time where a car like stopped. And a mom got out and like was like, I have kids in the backseat. And I was like, yeah, we should probably stop throwing fireballs at kids. Like that's super dangerous, guys.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah.
like that scene in Butterfly Effect where the mom goes out with the baby to the fucking mailbox and they put a cherry bomb in it and it just
baby blows
up
up?
Yeah.
the fucking baby's face. Yeah, God, that's a good movie.
I had like one fateful night in 8th grade, I guess. Like mischief. You guys had mischief night, right?
Yeah, of course.
Some people don't have that. I've mentioned
weird.
that at Barstool and like either people who work there or like the audience is like, what are you talking
Day
about?
before Halloween.
Yeah, we
Night
fuck shit
before
up. You do
Halloween.
dumb like
Yeah.
you know stupid shit that
Where did those people typically grow up? Like maybe
Jared's
it's not-
neighborhood, I guess.
Yeah, the doorman.
'Cause-
And then it's one of those things like, I don't know, looking back on it, I'm like, that's like my least favorite memory about myself. That I was like, I think that's so trash, you know what I mean? Just, like,
Vandalizing.
fucking
Yeah.
people's stuff up. It's like,
Yeah.
But we were, egging houses, and this guy ran out of his house, and I'll never forget, we all started running, and he like grabbed one of my friends, and then he like backhand punched my like best friend. And we all took off, but he got those two. And I
Yeah.
brought him back to his house. And, kind of was justified because we were like throwing shit at his house, but also he was like punching and dragging 14-year-old boys. So like the cops ended up coming and like were like giving us shit, being like, because we almost got the cops ourselves, being like, I think my friend's being like kidnapped and raped in the basement.
Why are they
beating my
Yeah.
Why they're killing my friend?
And they're looking at us in like, black hoodies and like hats. They're like, so what are you guys dressed up to be for Halloween? Like, you assholes. Like, we know what you're doing. And so they were giving us shit.
We signed up to egg houses, not be attempted murdered.
Basically, I remember kind of being like, listen, I know we're in the wrong here, but you got to respond like in kind. This is all ridiculous. But yeah, I remember that guy. They were like, we were like, I was like collecting my friend at this little like local Pelham police station, which is like a little house, and I remember them like screaming at this guy, being like, "Oh, you're a real tough guy beating up 14-year-old boys." That was my first and last like vandalism. I was like, okay,
I remembered having my one of my best friends growing up figured out that power at so much earlier than
What,
me, and I was in
hitting kids?
awe. No, he was when we were 16 and fucking shit up and like mischief night and all that other stuff. There was one time where he got into an argument with some other dude that lived like across the street or down the block from him or something, and the guy came out, and this dude was like big, but he was definitely in his late 20s, and he was like, puffing his chest at us, and we were all kind of backing down, except my one friend who was like, "What are you gonna do, pussy?"
Beat up a kid?
He goes, "You're gonna hit a fucking 16-year-old pussy? Go back inside." And the guy's was like, you're right. You're lucky I have a wife to strike. And then went back to, but it was unbelievable. I'm like, oh my God, for the next 2 years, we're invincible, baby.
Right.
If that was Cat Williams, that kid would have been fucked.
Yo,
Dude,
that whole experience. I remember it led to my favorite excuse that I ever tried to play with my parents. They were like, "So were you out? Like, did you egg this guy's house?" And I was like, "Not that house."
Yeah.
Like I hit that house and that house. I did not throw one at that guy's house. I remember I just didn't have any eggs on me at that time. But not that house.
Egging was like the nice. That's like there's the TP and then there's the egging. But like my friends, we would paintball people, so it would puncture shingles and the siding. Like it would be damaged.
Vandalism is only fun when there's no repercussions.
Yeah.
Like I remember my buddies and I put so much fucking hairspray on a bag of shit that we lit it on fire and it lit their front door on fire. Like it
they were never able to get out.
It just burned.
and then they all died in the flames.
You can read about it. It's
Public record.
But I had a house for like a minute, and I just like being a homeowner was like the worst thing in the world. I had to worry about shit I don't know. I had to fix things I can't. Taxes.
So you live in the suburbs now, but you rent.
Yeah, now I'm back in like an apartment where I belong. I'm a renter.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking like, oh my God, if I ever like saw some kids like trying to burn down my fucking front
That
door,
you're paying
I would
and-
punch him in the face and bring him into my basement.
of course.
I understood that guy in that moment.
Yeah.
I was like, that's so fucked up, man.
I was talking to my sister about that, like during the riots and protests and stuff like that, and we were having just a nuanced conversation about it. And I was like, she's like, those people with the guns on their lawn. I'm like, and pointing it at protesters, and it's like, yeah, I mean, pointing it at protesters is fucked up. I was like, but imagine people are coming on your lawn to fuck your shit up.
Right.
She's like, well, I wouldn't care. She's super young.
on the other side of it. Right.
And I'm like, well, okay, now pretend my son and my sister's daughter are there, and they're coming
at
to the house and fucking it up. And she's like, okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting hypothetical that took 1 second to come up with.
Yeah, well,
I was one stage removed,
And it's such an interesting thing too when you think about how like and I guess this is strategy for anybody who hears this. If you're a homeowner and you have teenagers vandalizing your property, instead of getting mad, which is I think the only reaction kids are going for, is like them being like, "Ah, you little kid, get out of here! You got to," just being like, why?
You guys are
why?
dicks.
If you just ask a kid, if one person to us when we were growing up just was like, "Why are you doing that? That's causing me so much problem." We would all been like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm so sorry."
That's too personal.
That's what we do.
Yeah,
it works. Right?
I'll be here Saturday with the paint can.
I will say this though: sometimes a good adult beating, maybe not to that extent, is good for the rep. Because my buddy's dad, right, who's a short guy, definitely played sports as a kid, but definitely looked like a dad, right?
Yeah.
He their house. It's Halloween or before Halloween. The varsity quarterback who was like playing Division III football, so he eventually, so he's like a solid athlete, could really run very fast, all that stuff. He fucking, because he's got a daughter in the same age, they lit up their house with eggs, and this guy ran out of the house, tracked him 3 yards away, and fucking shoelace tackled him at the knees, grabbed him, fucking got him, held him down, and was like, I want this known, never. And all your friends
don't ever do this again.
Never fuck with my house again because shit will get way
worse.
That's where you just start punching the ground next to his head. Look what I could do.
You come up with grass on your knuckles.
Yeah.
And you're like, this fucking.
I get that, man. That's when you get older, you become the old man on the porch. It's I know
because you realize you have to pay for that porch.
Yeah, dude. Totally fuck.
It was my dad's porch at one point.
It's very expensive. I don't know. It's just it's so funny though that what a difference. We were asking Jared was like, I don't know. I've never really had a need to lash out at people. We're like, Mike and I would go, wow.
Do we live in the same world? It's like, what? You've been in New York, right?
Well, it's kind of how Feeney, like we have that difference where like I could spiral dark and you can't spiral dark, so Jared just can't. He just doesn't struggle.
Yeah. Different strokes.
It's the same thing.
Alex, are you eating on camera again? What is that noise
on
now?
microphone.
On microphone?
Sorry, I was looking for something in my bag. I didn't realize you could hear my hands.
What did you? Is your bag a Sun Chips bag? What the fuck?
That's cool that you have just all newspapers and tinfoil in your bag.
It's a hot hands that you're hearing, you know.
Oh, yeah,
They're-
yeah.
They're nice.
We
Sorry,
hit her
sorry
a lot.
about that.
I see him look so
She catches these hot hands.
Just don't worry. Shit's going to get worse once you leave.
This is us being professional.
Did you guys underage drink a significant amount?
No, I didn't.
No?
So I only drank. The only time I really drank was once in 8th grade. Like I drank like a beer. That was my first
You
beer.
personally didn't, or like was the town doing it?
No,
and you
my
just
town,
didn't
my
dabble?
town did, and I just didn't. But
'Cause
when I went to
you're
Ireland,
Rockland,
I did.
right?
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, and where are you?
It's
Long Island.
alcoholics.
So I did, but not like it wasn't like 13 or something. We were probably
in
like
bars at like 15, 16 in Westchester, and like
No
I
shit.
thought it was awesome. It was like
in college.
the
I was-
golden era of underage drinking was North Avenue in New Rochelle.
Buddy, are you kidding?
Like late 90s, early 2000s, and
when I got there was by the time I was a freshman there, it was where it like I met my wife essentially through like O'Brien's
Yeah.
and Celtic and all these bars.
we were there
that-
at like 15.
Yeah, dude, well, I was there at 17. I was there
crazy.
17.
Yeah.
When I graduated college, I was
police
20. So I
station was right
Yeah,
there.
across the street.
And we were like-
from the underage. What?
You graduated college at 20?
Yeah.
That's early,
So I
no?
drank. Yeah, I graduated
2
college in
years
3
early.
years.
And
But
then
I was
you
also
have,
a
like, a
year
weird
younger.
birthday? Yeah.
December. So I
Oh,
was.
you should be much further along.
So I went in. No, but I graduated. This is.
What
I'm
a failure you are.
yeah. I'm not in debt, baby. But that was the, and then, but after my freshman year, it was like O'Brien's got shut down for underage
know.
drinking. Celtic got
What's
shut
her
down for
name? I think
underage drinking.
Janine Pirro was the one came in and just shut it all down.
It
Which is
all
probably
just-
for the best because we had like our learner's permit and people were like drunk driving.
Oh, of course.
Wild.
Yeah.
But it was awesome.
Dude, but that
and I
North
got to college.
Avenue-
I went to Fordham and I was like, kind of like, and Fordham is very bars heavy school. Like that's all there is. And I was kind of like right at home,
Yeah.
and a lot of my friends who I met were like, oh my God, I can't believe we're in bars. And I was like, you guys haven't been doing this for 3-4 years?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. And that's when
The
I
bar
realized,
scene
like, I was different.
was new to me from college, but we were drinking, but it was like house parties and stuff. But really, only then I think it was right
What
around
years was that?
Probably
for
when I
college?
was like, I guess 15 or 16 is
No,
when
I
we
mean,
were-
sorry. What years were you at? Were you on North Avenue?
2005 to 2008.
Yeah, so that was probably like right when it like
It's-
started.
The
to
freshman year was the
slow.
great thing, and then by the time I graduated, there was only one bar. It was just the bar Beachmont, and it
Yeah,
was
'cause that's like a
and they
restaurant.
card and
Yeah,
scanned.
that was
It
always like the hard
legit.
one to get into
Yeah.
anyway. But the like O'Brien's and Scholars and Catch and all. I mean, they were just.
There was this
It was like
place.
$10
there was this,
all you can
There was this
drink.
place called Augie's that was like an Italian place that was not far. That would be like you would go there and pay $30 and you get family style meal and all the wine or beer you could
Those-
drink.
yeah,
and
we-
it was
there was
just
one-
a mess.
We had China. There was very problematic now, but there was one spot in Manhattan called China Wine and one
Yeah.
spot called China Beer, and it was just Chinese food restaurants. It was the same thing, $30, and all you could drink. One had wine, all you could drink was beer. And I mean. Things got so completely out of control.
Always a
I
fight.
remember there was a table up. There was tables downstairs and then one table upstairs, and they put us upstairs once. And my friend like tumbled down like 30 steps. One time we got up, we just walked into the back of the kitchen, and they're like, "You get out, you get out."
Yeah.
And we saw it. What they had was a big vat of beer, and they would just scoop it with pitchers.
Oh,
And I was like, that's
no.
probably been there for days, but we were so happy to be able to drink anything. And we're like, we're in the city, you know.
But was it the same as because this place it was Italian food, so everyone's eating like heavy chicken parm and lasagna, and so while it always devolved into a fight because kids were teenagers and getting shit faced.
Naturally.
it never got into a physical fight because everyone was too
Tired.
full. Yeah, they were like, "Oh, you're a bitch. You're just you are such an asshole." When I get
get out
done
of
with
this
my
coma.
itis, yeah, you are fucked.
Your insults get breathier the longer the
Come over
argument
here.
goes.
Come over here. I'll fucking show you something.
good old days of drinking? Now I'm like I'll be hungover for 6 to 8 days.
Are you not boozing at all?
Not really. Not
shit.
anymore. It's not even like I've decided to stop. It's just like I don't really care for it.
Yeah.
Because
booze-
honestly, I think I've been doing it for so long where it was just like I don't have any FOMO anymore. I'm
Yes.
never like, you know, they're like, oh man, the bar was so awesome last night. I'm like,
No way.
let me guess what you did.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
did some shots that you shouldn't have,
Yeah.
and your favorite song came on, and there was a fight over there. There was a hot girl over there.
Yeah.
You made out like I did it literally like 10,000 times,
Yeah.
and it's just nothing. And then when I had the kids, have you been? You don't really drink anymore at all,
I don't
right?
drink at all, yeah.
I mean, having a hangover when you have to take care of your kid. I did it one time when I was like still a new parent, and then I was like, oh, I can never do this again. No party is worth the next day when you got when you got to watch the kids. It's
I
a
can't even
fucking.
imagine.
Well, that's been my entire fear, and also why I just haven't even gone back, because I started this whole thing off just in solidarity with my wife, wasn't going to do it, but then afterwards I was getting such little sleep that I was like, I can't imagine
on top of that
the fucking gravity of whiskey or wine or whatever, and especially how low how I just can't function.
Mixed with the shrieking cry of a child, I would imagine.
And then the scumbaggery of oh my God, I can't, my kid is crying and I can't help it because I'm crying too.
I just puked wine on his feet.
We're both pissing on our pants and shitting.
And it's weird too, because I feel like since the whole pandemic started, I'm drinking more frequently, but way less quantity. Overall my drinking is way down, but my frequency is way up. So I'll have
a couple drinks.
I'll have a drink. I could have a drink a day. If I'm home and I'm 5 o'clock, I'll make a margarita, and then at most we'll have one glass of wine with dinner. But then I'm I don't even
never the home drinker. I never did I finished the day and have a 6-pack.
I also am with
I was the next day home drinker where I'd get airplane bottles of vodka, put it into a lemonade, and then pour some seltzer, and I'm it's a breakfast beverage.
But I also, again, having living with a wife that is also drinking too, it would be, I don't think I would drink nearly as much if I was alone, if I was living alone. You know what I mean? Because then you're
I did most of my heavy drinking when I was married. I mean, me and Caitlin used to martinis and wine. We were boozing. I was I can't keep up. Chicks put me under the table, man. But when I'm alone, I feel I'd rather smoke some weed or whatever. Whereas I feel when you're just sitting there drunk alone, it's
there's a sadness that takes over.
The Irish depression kicks in.
Actual depressant. I remember waking up after a month of not drinking and be I'm a lot lighter.
Good.
The weight of my ancestors isn't pushing down on my shoulders every morning.
Irish guilt is not really there when you're not drinking a depressant on top of your depression.
One way to get out of a depression is to read all our 5-star reviews we have on iTunes. Everybody,
go rate and review.
Go rate and review right now if you haven't. It helps us out. We've got a bunch recently. We gave out a T-shirt last week to a
Can I tell you that I just panicked right now, and I'm still kind of panicking because my car Bluetooth just switched on and said, "Do not disturb while driving."
Someone's driving.
Someone
stole that car.
Should I tell him that's a basic button on the pull-down menu, or should we just let this continue?
Because I'm really panicking.
So then it's that.
All right,
but also, yikes. Anyway, so... Guys, support the show in other ways. You can get a Gas Digital Network subscription by using the code IGP. Gives you a 2-week free trial. We have 25 free episodes on iTunes for you. But if you want over 200 of them, sign up, Gas Digital, IGP. You get all of our bonus content, all the other shows on the network. There's over 22 of them, all their bonus content. It's insane. And also gives you a discount to podcastmerch.com, which you can't pull up, I'm realizing now, Alex, because the internet's down. But get a T-shirt, get a hoodie, support the show.
We just got hats. It's exciting.
Yeah. So it's great. So
they're not available. I just realized that.
I was why?
Plug the hat nobody can buy.
And if you want to support us in other ways, you can go to youtube.com/Mike Feeney Comedy and check out my special Rage Against the Routine.
I hate having to beg for the subscriptions and the reviews and the stars.
But it's everything.
And it's if these motherfuckers really could only understand how goddamn important it is.
Yeah.
I wish they would just change the system. I wish it wasn't as important as it is because I hate to have to beg for it. Because I love a lot of shows and I'm I don't subscribe and I don't rate and I don't review and I'm I'm such a fucking hypocrite.
Because it's such a simple and easy thing to do. It feels there's no way it could possibly impact things as much as they claim it does.
But it really fucking does.
Truly
so please do it.
Does. Subscribe to the Irish Goodbye one, to Mike Feeney Comedy, Mike Cannon Comedy. What's yours?
KFC Radio YouTube and Kevin Clancy Show YouTube, Kevin Clancy YouTube, something like that. And then the podcast, same thing, KFC Radio and the Kevin Clancy Show.
Oh yeah.
Fuck yeah. And I think you can go to MikeFeeneyComedy.com for dates. At I am Mike Feeney across all social media. Cannon?
Yeah, I got some dates. When is this coming? In another week. So this, the 24th, March 24th, I'll be in Philly Helium. Come out to that. Friday, Saturday, the 26th through the 27th, Atlantic City, me, Feeney, Brendan Sagalow. We're doing 2 stand-up shows, 1 live podcast. It's a mix of Here's a Scenario and Irish Goodbye. It's going to be a super good time.
Which is a show you should be listening to, by the way.
Yes,
and also
you
rate
should.
And subscribe.
Patreon.com/Scenario Pod. It's also my birthday weekend, and you understand that 36 is a benchmark for everybody. So please come out. It's going to be very exciting. I'm half vaccinated, excited to, one day kiss you guys in the mouth.
Oh, I also forgot. Oh, well, we'll do this at the end. But anything else that you want to plug or anything like that to people who listen and to the internet?
AnswerTheInternet.com is our card game and our YouTube series, but our YouTube series is kind of like on hold because there's not many people, guests coming through in person. It's really an in-person type of thing.
Yeah.
The Barstool Fund is still going. If you're still trying to support small businesses through the pandemic, that's BarstoolFund.com. But yeah, just really all the YouTubes and podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe.
Alex, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at I am Alex Scar, and check out my podcast with Kim Congdon called Broad Topix, Topix. It's here on gasdigitalnetwork.com/live every Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Or you can catch it for free on iTunes and YouTube every Monday.
Is it just me, or is that getting just like a sentence longer every week?
It's getting forever long.
Mike,
That was a minute.
G Mike, what do you got?
Hi, I'm G Mike across all platforms, and follow Irish Goodbye on Instagram, Irish Goodbye Podcast.
Company man, very succinct, love it. And also, if you guys are on Twitch, twitch.tv/NYFreshmaker, I play video games with Shuli and a bunch of other fun comics. But I do want to say this, because this is another way you could show us your love, because someone mailed me an actual card, which you can mail to Gas Digital. Alex, what's the address here? Or like, what's the address people should send shit to?
It's 151 First Avenue, number 311, New York, zip 10003.
Mail us something nice. This person, I just want to read this because I couldn't believe someone actually sent a nice handwritten thank you note that said, Mike wanted to reach out and thank you for all the laughing and entertainment. Hope you and Erica have a great 2021 full of happy hours. Also, I hope I can take you to an autocross. Is that like a race car?
That's what would have been my guess.
Right?
Context.
I would have gone with like the motocross bikes,
right?
Yeah,
that's motocross. I thought though.
Yeah,
so
so
it's
autocross would be
probably be cars.
Yeah.
But thank you to Christian for sending that. He also put $5 in there, which felt like a little demeaning, but also like a nice tip.
That's the most condescending thing I've ever seen in my life.
It's condescending, but it's like a bartender when you didn't order a drink, but you just talked to him until your table was ready, so you leave a $5. So that's what it kind of felt like. He's like, hey, thanks for the stories. It was for you.
You know what I don't like is that you should have just done this on your social media, because it had absolutely nothing to do with me.
They sent it here, though.
Where do I work
Yeah,
into this?
they sent it here.
Oh, you and Erica. I
Yeah.
could use $250.
What? Oh, I'm not splitting that with her. What are you, out of your goddamn mind? They wouldn't even know where to send it if it wasn't for me. But yeah, send us nice things, I guess. That's kind of fun. But anyway, I don't know.
It's pretty fun. Oh my God. I don't remember what I was going to say. I actually had something in my head.
Do you ever do that to yourself where you just go, oh, guys, the thing, and then be like, hope you have something.
That's it.
I
for
was
me.
saying that in hopes that it would jar something interesting to
Anything.
say, and it didn't, and instead it did this.
Which bought us a couple seconds. So if you could do that for the next 25, that'd be great. I mean, I'm excited about now they got comedy clubs are going to be able to open up. Do you think that baseball, because they're going to open up the stadiums, but just a little bit, our tickets are going to be $10,000 a piece, you think?
We're doing Mets. Oh, that's another thing I can plug. Go to Mets.com/Barstool if you're a Mets fan. We're doing, we have 6 outings called
Chris
Barstool at the
Scopo
Ballpark.
just fucking...
Yeah. Do you know Chris Scopo, by the way? He's a
No,
New York City comedian. And
I know the name, but I don't know him like personally.
He's a New York City comedian, and he is. I mean, I would argue as big of a Mets fan as you are, maybe more. He literally had he has a podcast called it was called Sell the Team, leading up to the thing, and now I guess he has put too many eggs in that basket and has to change.
Yeah, I was gonna say now what?
He's killed himself.
He's like, sell the team. They did. All right.
Well, I'll start another one. Give me money.
It took me 9 years to come up with that idea, and so I guess now we'll just be, But
It's honestly the best deal like in sports. The first one, it's $70. You get your ticket. You get unlimited beer from an hour prior to the first pitch until the alcohol cutoff.
Oh my God.
It's fucking
I mean, I'll go to
magic,
that.
right?
I'll go to that.
So, and we do one a month. I picked out, like, it's always on a Saturday, so I picked out, like, the best matchups or the best times, whatever. And those, right now, we sold out, like, a couple outings, like 400 tickets. A couple of them are 250.
Nice.
And they're, like, they've said to me, like, if something goes wrong and we need to recall or whatever, they'll get their money back and they'll refund it. But at this moment, I think it's reduced capacity, but I think it's high. I think it's like 80%. I don't think it's anything like jarringly low. So
That's gonna be great.
And our tickets were normal price, so I don't think they are.
It's crazy. Did you see the Nets tickets?
No,
They're
they crazy.
$350 for sitting against the back
Bro,
of the fucking.
If there's
stadium.
ever been like just proof positive that the Nets will just not matter in this town, it's this year.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe if they like win the title this year, that will it'll have to change.
Yeah.
But
But,
I mean,
but a
the Knicks.
parade-
People would rather
Do
have
you
the
think there would
Knicks
be-
lose.
The Knicks are fucking 500 and they're dancing
Celebrating.
in the streets.
Yep.
And the Nets have everybody minus LeBron as like the 3 biggest stars in the game.
Yep.
And
Well, you know what it
nobody
is? I
cares.
think
They
it's
do
I
not
thi-
care.
I think it's also their stadium because their arena that they play in because in Barclays Center to go into that you have to like go down.
It's a
It's like
weird
literally
arena,
there.
yeah.
It's like an underground
You're like the
court.
bowels of hell.
Versus Madison
Yeah.
Square Garden, you have to like ascend to it like heaven, and then it's all
Yeah.
warm
And
lighting
it's-
on the
I mean,
top.
smack in the middle of Manhattan is always. I mean, granted, you're surrounded by like hobos and people like with
Bridge and
heroin
tunnel.
needles in their arm,
Yeah.
but like.
And those are just the Long Islanders getting off the train.
That's the train from Nassau.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But that I mean, when New York is, it's kind of a cliche at this point, but when the Knicks are good, New York is just a totally different town.
I'm
and-
like legitimately bummed that they haven't been available. Like you couldn't go into the stadium this year. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, MSG right now with just being
rocking,
relevant.
dude.
D Rose, Tibbs getting
and
the
it's been
fucking defense going.
It's been so long that like there's probably a young, I guess probably if you're like early 20s, probably like never really. Like the last time the Knicks were good, except for that
They were
like
a
one
baby.
blip on the radar.
99, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
99. So
Carmelo
like there's probably a
thing.
whole chunk of like young guys who have just like never even known the Knicks to be
Yeah.
a playoff
But that's what
team.
that's
you know?
what so many of the players are. They're just
Yeah,
all
definitely.
18-year-olds
Right,
who
so
are
they're
like,
like,
why
the
would you
Knicks,
ever go?
fuck the
That's
Knicks,
like
you know?
that's here in like the fucking Bills. If you're 20 years old, you're like the Bills.
But it's hilarious because people like that, like KD was like the fucking Knicks are whack, like the Nets are the new thing, and it's like.
No, bro.
It's not
It's
when you
just
talk to
not.
New Yorkers. Like
Yeah.
it's the same as like
just
Andrew
not.
Yang just call it a CVS a bodega.
Right.
It's like, dude, you better like bone up on Saturday Night Fever or something. You better figure this fucking city out because they're
You do not know it, man. Yeah, and they, Durant and like his clique can think it, but like the people in the city, they don't agree, man. And I
No.
know like there's no reason reputation wise, but New York is still New York. Madison Square Garden is still the Garden. Rappers are still singing about it. People still know it. Like there's gonna be one person, one free agent one day who's good enough to be like, I will be the one. Because if
Yeah.
you do somehow get the Knicks to win, you are a sports immortal forever.
Yeah, but there's also
And
it's
it's a tall task, so it's got to be like when the next LeBron of sorts would need to be like, I will take this challenge on. It's probably got to be someone from New York or something like that. But the
Obi
guy who
Toppin,
does
baby.
that, huh?
Obi Toppin.
I mean, yeah, Obi does not seem to be that guy yet. But you never know. But I mean,
he
that
can
that
dunk
guy who
through his
does do
legs.
it, man, is like he'll be a fucking god.
Yeah.
Even if you could like make the playoffs, if you can just be like a
Well, that's the
somewhat
thing.
of
It's
a
like,
contender.
We won a series with Melo, like one series, and everybody was like, "Man, the good old days when
Yeah.
the Knicks were
People said
winning
to me
the
all the
first
time,
round."
What about 2013? I'm like, you mean when they grossly underachieved as a 2 seed and got
Yeah.
bounced against the Pacers? Like that was the fact that we consider that. I
Well,
mean, it's a sad state of affairs.
Here's the thing: this is pure Knicks like insanity, and I complete that. But the last time that they made it to the finals was a janky, weird ass season
is true.
in '99.
Right, so if there's ever
And it's
a
like,
time-
if there's ever a time, the Giants are known for doing
God,
that,
was
sneaking
so
into the
funny
fucking playoffs.
that year, like as the 8 seed sneaking in, and then it was just like, oh, but Tim Duncan and David Robinson are just gonna butt fuck you now.
Oh,
like, thanks for coming out, but you're fucking dead now.
Right, Feeney?
Well, I was gonna say, as a Knicks, as like a casual basketball fan growing up, my memories of good Knicks teams, it goes to Carmelo. That when they had the limited run, and then before that is my last thing. I just go Carmelo.
Patrick Ewing? Yeah,
Patrick
yeah,
Ewing,
yeah.
and
There
then
was
like
not much in between.
everyone in between, Marbury, everyone that like came and went was just like that. There's nothing in between that. It's just blackness. It's just a fucking dark hole.
Wow. That's
is-
problematic.
Is it?
In the NBA, blackness?
No, that's pretty right. I feel like that's we're not talking about hockey. What are we doing? But yeah, and that's the funny thing too is that'll be the soundbite in 3 years that people are like,
you're
can
gonna
you
get some-
believe it?
You'll be done for that
And
one.
then
no
they-
context. They won't even know we're talking about the Knicks.
Yeah. Just in life.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just too much. They add that right on top of it.
Blackness it is too much. It just doesn't even sound right, but they're like, still, it sounds like he might have said
said
that.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see that fucking Tom Cruise deep fake thing?
No,
That's
deep
now...
fakes are scary, man.
Alex,
you can
have you
do
seen
whatever
this?
you want.
I was
to
gonna
people.
say pull it up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, this is bull. Are you guys getting paid like half the amount this time since you're not able to pull anything up for anything?
honestly, they should be getting paid double because they're literally like running the tape with their hands.
Yeah, we have Harrington on a hamster wheel below the surface, controlling the lights.
I just pull it up on my phone, but no, it's some kid on TikTok who has like the same haircut as Tom Cruise and spent a long time. Either he was coding or found this deep fake where they coded millions of hours of fucking Tom Cruise talking, and it was Tom Cruise.
crazy,
and people were
dude.
flipping out, like, "Oh, Tom Cruise on TikTok, this is crazy! Like, what's
And
going
he
on?"
said the N-word. It's like you can do whatever you want if you could deepfake somebody,
Yeah,
you know?
dude. Well, Joe Rogan, they had that one come out about him where I think they did like 8 minutes of him talking about monkeys playing hockey.
But he was talking to like himself too, right, or something
like that.
But that's where I think is actually going to be great because
You can just claim deepfake.
once deepfakes become that good, then I think it's going to all destroy itself in terms of like see what they did, the outrage, because you go, who knows what's real anymore? So unless I was there to hear it, it didn't happen.
Plausible deniability on all of it. It's just a deepfake.
Yeah.
Even then, I might be wearing one of those, Mission Impossible masks.
You know that shit's real?
What?
I listened to that podcast.
Sorry, I'm so upset. I was like, what?
It's crazy. I listened to the podcast Winds of Change. It was like kind of like a serial type of podcast. Just spit, sorry. It was like an old CIA operative that the main thing they were investigating was that there was like an 80s rock ballad. Can't even remember the name now, but like the CIA wrote it. And it was all about, it was called Winds of Change, and they wanted to get it like submersed into Soviet culture, being like, it's, changing the falling of the wall, and you should get in with the democratic, blah, blah, blah. And it was, I think they like can neither confirm nor deny, but blah, blah, blah. In the process of investigating and talking to all these people and interviewing them, they talked to this woman, she's on this podcast from like the CIA, who was like, those like Mission Impossible type of masks were fucking real. Like someone was like in a room with George Bush, the first one, and like it was like
what?
Like a female was wearing like a male mask, like crazy shit from the movies.
They gave her
kind of
liver-spotted
real
hands.
Yeah, dude, some of those prosthetics. Dude, remember Jackass, where they would have people, obviously they did the ones where just like Bam in a fat suit skateboarding, but then they had other ones where it was like, that was kind of the whole inception of the Bad Grandpa or whatever it was, right? Where it's like, he fucking looked like an old dude, especially because Knoxville's always like very skinny. And
Bam getting kicked off the set of Jackass 4.
that sucks, man. I feel so bad for that dude because he is legitimately bipolar and
been through it
and
all,
just also
dead
like,
friends and-
addiction and a dead friend. Like that
But
dude
getting
has
kicked
so
off the set of
much.
Jackass is tough.
It's like that's
it's like
talk about
the point. Like I can't believe they just didn't say roll tape, but
Right.
I mean,
let's
sad.
I think
capture Bam's breakdown.
I think they did already.
This is Johnny Knoxville, and this is my best friend losing it.
I think the point where Bam snapped to a point where he could never return was when they locked him in that trailer with snakes. His one thing he was terrified of, and he was like whimper crying, be like, "God, get the fuck out of here!" Like he was like he turned into a fucking crazy
acting of your life.
Quite a performance.
Unbelievable.
Put him in Jackass 5.
Thank you.
That's the reel for the, and also should go on your reel.
I'll put it on reels,
Dude, that like, did you ever do like dumb shit like that?
dude.
Jackass
That was
shit?
my entire.
I mean, I loved it watching it.
I grew up with like a camera in like a
neither.
video camera always in my hand.
that
So
guy?
when that came out, I was the guy that would always either like. But again, I was good at convincing people to be the ones to do shit. But then they're like, why don't you go off the shopping cart directly into the wall? I'm like, yeah, but someone's got to film it. I'm going to get it. And you're going to look awesome. And they're like, yeah, okay, no helmet, right? I'm like, no. So
They set you on fire too, and
but
here's
like,
the knives.
Yeah, dude, it was always just like fucking that thing of being like, let's
you have
just
all that footage
film. Oh, well, yeah, we played some of it on the show
Yeah,
of like,
that's
and
amazing.
there's. I would also do. It's just fun because
I mean, he was putting a lot of people's lives at risk. Like there was video of
just
him
like
driving
Jackass.
I mean,
buck 12 in a
that-
residential.
That like infamous, disclaimer at the beginning. That had to be like the realest disclaimer that was ever.
Oh,
made.
That
yeah.
Usually it's like
disclaimer-
whatever. But I was like, yes.
Yeah, but again,
correct.
And I've said this on the podcast before. That when I would read that, I would go, but I know what they mean. They mean submit.
Send in.
They're looking for the next great
They
Knoxville.
want submissions. I get it. And so, yeah, my friends and I, there was a time too when you want to talk about like the guy who, your neighbor, the person who grabbed and then horse collared the other dude and got two of them at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time where my friend, we were in his car and he had a Ford Explorer, but I think it was like a 4-seat. And I think there were 7 people in his car. And we were on this main road on like a Wednesday night, and we were with our other friends, and we used to go to this library parking lot to like just fucking do donuts and just burnouts
shit,
and
yeah.
just you had a big huge parking lot, especially if it had been like snowing or something where you can kind of hydroplane and you just felt like weightless on it and shit. But of course, a couple friends went too far into a light fixture or whatever. But so this one night didn't have those conditions, but we were doing 110 in a 50, or I think he was doing 115 in a 55, and because we were driving, with my other friend who was in this little Honda Civic, also going the same speed, kind of like drag racing on this 2-lane road. And as we're going down this, the police, you see the siren in the distance. My friend who's driving flips out because his dad is a police officer, and a very like stern, like the mustache police officer. You know what I mean? Like so,
and a $115 is like that's not like
that's
like you're going to jail.
And I think he had his learner's permit or like his juniors. He definitely did not have his full license
That's
yet.
one thing. Let me just interrupt. We're gonna look back, and they're like once self-driving cars are like a thing, and they're gonna be. Can you believe that they let humans operate these? Let alone
16-year-olds?
children.
Yeah.
Like here's a 15,000-pound piece of machinery.
Yeah.
You're 15.
My first
As long as
drive.
the sun's up, you can drive it.
My first driver's test, the guy got out of the car. I turned around, threw up in the bushes, and then go, "I'm ready." And he was like, "What?" And I'm like, "I'm super nervous."
It's like, here, and he's like, "Yeah, here you go, I guess," because you can do a 3-point turn.
I failed that one, but
So the police officer starts driving up, and I couldn't believe it because you have that thing where everyone's like freaking out, and one of my friends, he's like, hide in the back because people are like, there's too many people in the car. So you're like, how do you get less people in the car by the time you pull over? And now both of us are flying, and you go, well, the police is just gonna get somebody, because he pulled over, he got our friend in the Civic first, and he pulled him over, and we were like, whoo, we all did that thing where we were like, oh, that would have been bad. That would have been fucking bad, dude. And next thing you know, we see his lights, and this dude, he pulled over our friend, got us, and made us
Come back.
reverse to go up with the other. He pulled us both over, which is so
you
crazy.
guys got to get off that
but
road.
that's one of those.
Like driving to a
That's one of
field
those things
somewhere.
where you're like, if we just committed to being like, someone's fucked, and the other person drive away, but they were just scared kids, and so they pulled over my buddies. And again, he had to fucking. The police officer called his dad police officer, which is a sentence worse than death, and fucking gave him the riot act, and then like all of a sudden, you could tell the police officer was almost worried about the response from his dad because he was just like, okay, he said get home now, and you're like, oh no,
He said kill
no,
you.
yeah.
He said take out your gun and shoot him.
And
It's okay.
he's like, had I known what I had done, I just would have given you a ticket. So, and they took away his dad like took away his car. Very much about like the importance of
not driving 115.
Yeah, took away his car for I think like 4 months, which again is like so
end of the
big.
world.
Yeah, when you're a kid and it's like
the fact that
driving.
my parents would be like, yeah, here's the keys to like a nice car
It's
that we spent our
crazy.
money on, and we'd be dicking around like that. Never quite like that. But,
Yeah. I got off an exit. Like I went like 110, saw the cop pull out, and I pulled off the Palisades Parkway.
Yep.
Pulled off, and then I was so young and inexperienced. I was like, got him. I got back on the Palisades Parkway, and then he pulled me over and was like about to rip me out of the car.
Yeah.
Saw my friend Jimmy in the back seat and was like, I play softball with him.
Wow.
Because he was on the high school varsity team, and he was like, did you know that? And I was like, no. And he was like, hey, Jim. He's like, hey, officer. And he's like, wow, never do that again.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Lucky,
Dude, you just reminded me because there was a time when we would just and this I showed on the podcast, I think, that we would just be at a red light with somebody, and then the second it turned green, just like throw an egg at their car and just see if they would go into a high-speed highway pursuit with us. And we were
assholes.
We were
just doing dumb asshole
course,
shit.
like terrible things. And so but there was of course numerous times where people chased us, and there was a dude in a pickup truck who I remember, most people when you floor it away, they'll get behind you, but when you start, my friend would drive like a fucking getaway driver and would blow 4-way intersections doing 80 with us in
in
the
and
car,
out.
and most of the people who were chasing you would stop because, of course, they would put their own life at risk.
insane,
There
yeah.
was a pickup truck, dude, where it was like no matter what my friend did, just was gaining on us
fuck
and
with
was
the wrong guy,
was
man.
blowing every light. Like it was like so. I remember
like,
being
what
like,
now?
yeah, like
This
literally,
never
like we're gonna
happened
die.
before. Yeah.
And I remember he made a left off this main road, and we went down this residential street, and the guy thankfully like had to wait to turn left because of the oncoming traffic. Like my buddy, of course, like almost got us fucking T-boned to death. And my buddy, I'll never forget, it was the most impressed I ever was with anybody in my life. He pulled the emergency brake and like drifted the car into somebody's driveway, cut the ignition off, turned the lights off, and we all just went and reclined down. And he drove past us, and I was like, we're the luckiest people in history. That was a fucking movie.
I mean, that guy, that's a dude who, like, he probably was going to kill you. He probably had, like, a gun in his car and was like, I've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
That's the horror movie.
The guy that drives with no lights on, hoping you'll flash
that's
him.
the urban legend.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
and then he murdered us.
But then the scary part is you're sitting in that driveway going, God, I hope nobody turns on their lights at the house and be like, who's in my driveway? Also, it goes like, how long do we stay
wait?
here?
Yeah.
Like, is he right outside the driveway waiting to see if anybody else comes out? And yeah, I think we stayed there for 20 minutes, just being like, shut up. Yeah, just the smell of burning rubber on brakes, you know?
That's like
called living too, by the way.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
what do I
the
do
suburban
now?
pastime is to race.
I mean, I remember pretending like, live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Oh yeah, Deer Park Avenue, DPA, baby.
Well,
My
all those-
Toyota Corolla with
all those
110
kids
horsepower.
Died right after seeing Fast and the Furious. They're like,
Most of my friends.
mine too. That's why we have this show. I remember my buddies. See, we had shitty cars, or at least the kids that would race them. My friend had like a beat up, like box ass Volvo, and his friend had like a, back in that day, like early thousands Hyundai Elantra or something, like back before it actually became like a padded car that you could crash and nobody would die. And we were all listening to Notorious Thugs. I remember it bouncing up and down in this boxy ass fucking Volvo in a 15-mile-per-hour school zone going about 65, 70, and we were all going around the turn together. This kid tried to beat us on the over the double yellow line and instead went directly into the woods. Like just went straight into the woods with his car, and my friend stopped the car, was like, should we go back? And I was like, what? Yeah, man. Like, cut the mute. Cut.
We won the race, bro. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's like,
Guys, it's a whole thing.
Take a lap.
Guys, it's the whole thing. The song's on. I feel like we should just keep, it's
It's a
not
vibe, dude.
The
It's a
song
vibe.
talks about not looking back, and I feel like in this situation and I've done that same thing too, where we were racing at most a mile down the road to go from a bowling alley to a diner, and it was just the same exact thing of we were all fucking racing really close and fucking with each other. We do a thing where when you're at red lights, you just inch up and hit the other, like bumper car, the other person's car, and then we were turning into the parking lot.
stupid.
Yeah, when I wasn't even driving this time, but one of my friends was driving, and my other friend tried to beat us there, tried to do the thing, cut us off to go into the parking lot, and my buddy just didn't stop, called that bluff, and just slammed into the back, shattered his whole fucking fender and bumper, was all crunched together. And then it became, which is just such a fun, like Long Island drama, where it was like I had to walk my friend away because he was like, he fucking cut us off, dude. Like they all of a sudden best friends for life are gonna fist fight each other. So I had to be like, come on, let's take a walk. Just leaving our cars on a main road, just being like, no, come on, dude, walk it off. Don't worry about him. He was just trying, he means well, dude. He's just he's a little fucked up, Like it just turns into Irish Sopranos. It's so fucking stupid. We're very dumb, I guess.
Honestly, how many times do you think you should be dead?
A lot.
Like several
The more
times.
I think about it,
like,
very often, yeah.
God, I'm
There
just
was
like
a window.
lucky white person. Jesus Christ.
I mean, is there a specific instance in your life that you think of? Because I think of one fall that I took in Ireland.
That's the thing, yeah.
I was 15 drunk, and I fell over a little, like, a rock thing that was on the side of the sidewalk we were walking, and I just drunkenly tripped, fell, and it was an 8-foot drop, and I just fucking plummeted, and I hit the ground and just hopped back up.
Right,
and was
like a fucking
I'm 15,
cat, but
like, who cares?
I'm actually stronger now. Yeah.
I mean, that happens to me right now, and like I'm either dead or completely paralyzed, every bone shattered.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a wrap.
Have you fallen recently?
I have a new rule, by the way. I will no longer leave the earth.
Oh yeah.
I am no longer. I will never
Heels
fight
on the ground for the rest of
gravity
your
has
life.
just won. Yeah, I will be. You know, I'll like get on a plane. I'll leave the earth. I'll climb a ladder if I need to fix something. Jumping.
You're done with
I
jumping.
am never going to jump again.
Your
What's
quick
the
twitch is
reason?
over.
No, there will be no quick movements. There will be no leaving the earth. Why would I do that?
Gravity is beating you down like your coach.
You have one.
Yes,
Yes. Like that summer league game.
Yeah.
I just there's no point in it anymore.
Yeah.
And I refuse to do it. I mean, it was a guy. We were doing a show on Clubhouse the other night, and this guy, he's like, he was 24, so it shouldn't even be happening to him yet. Like ripped his ACL playing like softball or something. I'm like. And 24 is a little young. You should still be doing shit.
Yeah.
But I tell all my friends who are 30 and up, hang it up.
Yeah,
You're going to dislocate your shoulder. You're going to tear up your knee. You're going to need surgery and be out like 8 months for your fucking
It's so
rec
funny.
league, men's league basket. It's just not worth it.
It's so funny to say that because I'm literally just agreed to be in a I was doing this
Dodgeball
comic
league?
this softball league, but it's like fast and slow pitch, but it's beautiful. They fucking
Fast pitch? Are you fucking
it's
insane?
Yeah, and they do it in Central Park. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's the
Yeah, I'm
most
sure,
beautiful
yeah,
setting.
yeah.
And so I've been playing the last few years. Last year we didn't play, but then they're like, oh, we're doing it this year. And a part of me, I acted as though I was under contract. Like I said yes. I was like, all right, I'll be there. And I'm like, I got to start training to like play softball so I don't get hurt.
Yeah, not because you want to be like excel. It's just I don't want to get hurt.
I just know I'll be hurt, and I'm just trying to minimize
Because
the damage.
you know what it is? It's like many years ago when I still would do anything, I would play like I was 16. I'd be
Yeah.
like, I'm going to dive on the floor for the ball.
Yeah.
I'm going to like battle for the rebound.
I
Like,
did that
what
during
am
the
I doing?
Skankfest comedy basketball tournament.
God. I mean,
I dove on the ground.
Hurting yourself at the Skankfest basketball tournament is rock bottom.
We're champions, and we
Hey,
won.
you got that dub,
we each
whatever.
won we each won $250 for that because Lewis rigged it and hired two dudes. Oh, that was Nick Mullen did that from Cumtown, right?
Yeah.
He hired two dudes to represent him that I think he just went to a basketball court and found, and they were like comically large and giant and black and fucking wearing wife beaters and just like angry and just came to be like they actually were really cool guys.
They had British accents.
But they were told they'd get like $500 if they beat a bunch of white comedian podcasters.
Sure.
So they just
sounds
were,
like reparations.
They just they went through Ari. Like Ari just looked like a fucking like hard spaghetti. They just snapped him in half and kept running. And for some reason we had the 3-on-3 and we had me and Mike and our buddy Lance Weiss, who is just this spry. He looks like he's got springs in his
He's
sneakers
elastic,
and he's got a
and
killer.
he's 56.
He's
or
got a
something.
killer finish and a 3-point, and just between the three of us, we somehow won
the
the
whole
game.
fucking thing.
Which, by the way, it was a tournament, so we were playing back-to-back or
How old were you guys? Was this recent?
This was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was
Sagalo was going to play in his underwear.
because he was wearing jeans, so he was like, "Should I just do the underwear thing?"
And we said yes.
And
And,
it was-
he pulled down his pants and was like, nobody can tell, right? We're like, dude, your fucking pendulum is banging between your sausage link thighs.
That is the single most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. That a grown adult who has like interaction with people
That's
and
right.
friends
Yeah.
and a career and
Yeah.
socializing and shit would think it's socially acceptable to play in a basketball tournament in his underwear.
Yeah.
And
Turn
take his
around.
pants off and be like, yes, this is it. This is what I'm going to
he
do.
ended up borrowing other people's shorts, but he felt like
We told him he
begrudged to
couldn't
do
play.
it.
I think we should put him on a list. Like he's more.
Yeah.
He should have to knock on his neighbor's door and be like, "I almost played in a basketball tournament in my underwear. I thought that was okay."
I'm obviously a threat to myself and everyone around me.
Absolutely. That is
Also, his nuts
insanity.
like snow globed flakes down.
Oh, that's very. You gotta know Brendan's balls.
Everybody knows it.
God.
All right.
That is outrageous.
That's when you wanna make your Irish goodbye.